Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to take market chaos, especially the kind that feels pretty painful if you're trying to sell, and turn it into a clear, actionable playbook. Today, we are really digging into the tough reality of selling your home when, well, the power has completely shifted. It's a buyer's market out there, and the stakes, they're incredibly high right now. Just look at this number. Redfin data shows there are, get this, 518,801 more home sellers than qualified buyers in the U.S. That is a huge imbalance. It means buyers can take their time, they can shop around, be picky, and if your listing isn't quite right, they just, move on. There are 500,000 other options.
It's fascinating, though, because the difference between the homes that sell fast for a good price and the ones that just sit there, collecting dust, getting price cuts, it isn't luck. It really comes down to a highly disciplined expert strategy. So our mission today is to deep dive into a pretty comprehensive 7-point playbook. Think of it as a non-negotiable checklist, really. It's designed specifically for selling successfully when buyers have all the leverage. And the core takeaway, what we want you to leave with, is that success hinges on that expert strategy executed with discipline. It's not about hope.
Okay, let's unpack this. And yeah, we have to start where most sales fall apart.
Yeah.
The price. The source material we looked at is crystal clear on this. Most homes fail because they miss that initial pricing window. It's not usually about bad staging or weak marketing, surprisingly enough. It's the price.
Yeah. Absolutely. Pricing is the absolute foundation. And it demands precision, not just, wishful thinking. If you're off by even a few $1,000s when there's this much supply, you risk missing that critical first wave of buyer interest. So the right method, it means really studying nearby active listings, what's pending, look at the last 30, maybe 60 days. And here's the key part. Give extra weight to the homes buyers are actually touring right now, today. Those are your direct competitors.
Okay. So even if my neighbor sold for X amount 6 months ago, if the house across the street just listed lower than I wanted, that's the number I really need to focus on.
Precisely. That's the current reality of the market you're in. And then you need to use a specific tactic, bracket testing the price. This leverages psychology and, frankly, how search algorithms work. A price like, say, $599,000. It's going to show up in way more searches, catch more eyes than something like $603,000. That small difference, just $4,000, can literally change the size of the buyer pool seeing your property online.
That makes total sense. Okay, so if pricing is the foundation, how quickly should a seller know if they hit that 599K sweet spot? You mentioned discipline. We can't just rely on a feeling, right?
Yeah.
But let's talk about managing the metrics. The sources call this the final essential step, almost like a perpetual feedback loop.
Yeah, feelings are basically the enemy of strategy in this kind of market. You have to manage the metrics relentlessly. And we're talking specific signals in defined timeframes. So first 72 hours. You need to know your online views, your saves, when people favorite it on Zillow or Redfin and video watch time if you have video. Those saves, they tell you if the price and the initial look are making people pause, making them interested. Then, okay, week 1 rolls around. You're tracking the actual showing count. And just as important, the quality, the feedback from those showings. What are agents and buyers saying? And then by day 10, what's the offer velocity? Are you getting offers? What are the terms like?
Wow. Okay, that's a pretty aggressive timeline. Day 10. What if I'm at day 8 and the numbers are looking soft? A few saves, not many views, maybe only 1 or 2 showings. My first instinct as a seller would be panic. I'd want to change everything, drop the price, get new photos, maybe stage differently.
And that panic is natural, but it's also self-sabotage.
Yeah.
Look, if the metrics are showing the market's rejecting the listing, yes, you absolutely must adjust. But, and this is crucial, you only adjust one lever at a time. The levers are price, presentation, or promotion. Pick one. Maybe you drop the price slightly. Maybe you add that professional video. Maybe you boost the social media ads. But just one change. Then you measure again, see what the metrics do. If you change 3 things at once and the house sells, you have absolutely no idea what actually worked. You learn nothing for next time, or even for negotiating.
Right, that discipline is key. It's like running an experiment, not just throwing things at the wall. Okay, let's rewind a bit then. If the metrics are failing early on, it often points back to a weak launch, doesn't it? The source material really emphasizes that great launches are engineered. They need a clear runway. This brings us to point 2. Build momentum before day 1.
They absolutely have to be engineered. A great listing doesn't just appear on a Friday and sell by Monday. That momentum, it's built during the preparation phase. The pre-list checklist has the basics, sure, professional cleaning, maybe some light paint touch-ups, curb appeal, but the real insight here is targeted staging. You focus your time and money on the 3 rooms that truly sell homes: the kitchen, the main living area, and the primary suite. That's where buyers make that emotional connection.
That's a great point. Sellers can waste a lot of time and money painting, say, a spare bedroom that buyers barely glance at. Okay, so the home looks great. You've got your media assets ready, good HDR photos, a clean video tour, maybe a floor plan, those short clips for social media. Now we get to this quiet launch idea. As a seller, seeing all that work done, why would I want to show it before the official listing date? Why risk it? What's the purpose of a quiet launch?
It's about risk mitigation, actually. It's trying to prevent a failed public debut. Think of it as test driving your marketing plan before opening night. The quiet launch means strategically showing the listing before it hits the MLS to a select group highly qualified buyers you know are looking and top local agents. You're collecting early, unfiltered feedback. If a couple of top agents say, yeah, price looks spot on, great, you launch with confidence. But if they say, that kitchen lighting feels a bit dated, or the backyard needs more attention, you fix it before the whole market sees it. It validates your approach and builds buzz.
So it's like quality control for your listing. That makes sense. And it leads right into point 3. Identify your most likely buyer. Because if you're doing a quiet launch, you need to know who you're showing it to, right? You can't just market to everyone and hope for the best.
Exactly. Scattershot marketing is just burning money and time in a market with lots of inventory. You absolutely must define your buyer profile. Where are they likely moving from? Why are they moving now? What features do they value most? And, crucially, what objections are they likely to raise about your specific property? Once you have that profile, you can achieve what the source calls message to market match. Your marketing speaks directly to that buyer.
Okay, but wait a second. Isn't that approach too specific? By narrowing your focus, aren't you reducing your chances? Maybe missing out on a different type of buyer who might still love the house.
It seems counterintuitive, but in a buyer's market, you're not fishing with a wide net hoping to catch anything. You're spearfishing. You want the right buyer, the one who sees the most value in your specific home and is willing to pay the best price because it perfectly meets their needs. So, for instance, if your likely buyer values low maintenance, you highlight the new roof, the HOA services, maybe utility costs, warranty info right in the description. If they're a lifestyle buyer, you lead with the great school district, the easy commute, the nearby parks and restaurants. You tailor the story.
Okay, spearfishing, not net fishing. I like that analogy. Now, what about handling objections proactively? You mentioned that. Say, I know buyers are going to question the age of the roof or maybe the HVAC system's getting old. How do I handle that without scaring them off?
You don't hide it. You actually shine a spotlight on it, but on your terms. If the roof is older, fine. You proactively include, maybe in the disclosure packet or available online, the permit history if you have it, maybe 1 or 2 recent quotes for replacement from reputable local roofers, and any relevant insurance notes. You take away their reason to pause or lowball you based on that uncertainty. You turn a potential negative into a demonstration of transparency. It reduces their perceived risk.
That's smart. Address the elephant in the room before they even have to ask.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk distribution. Point 4. Market on multiple channels with one story. The source is really hammered at this point.
Yeah.
Consistency over just, spray and pray.
Consistency is absolutely everything here. Once you've nailed that buyer profile and your message to market match, every single channel you use needs to tell the exact same compelling story. So on the MLS, on Zillow, Redfin, all the portals, you need tight remarks, focus on scannable benefits, have a strong hook in the first sentence, and captions on every single photo guide their eye, tell the story visually.
And what about the agent network? That still feels important, even with all the online tools. Does that require a more personal touch?
Oh, absolutely. That's not a mass email blast. That's personal outreach calls, maybe personalized emails to agents who you know work with buyers in your specific price range and target demographic. Offer private showings for their top clients before the first open house. Give them a clean, easy-to-digest offer package up front. Make it easy for them. Then digitally, yes, use that short video for Instagram Reels or TikTok. Create a carousel post with your 3 best photos. Email your property info to your own list if you have one. And definitely use targeted advertising, geographic radius around the property, maybe interest-based targeting for your likely buyer profile, and critically, retargeting ads to people who've already visited your online listing page.
Right, that retargeting keeps your property top of mind when they're looking at 5 others. Okay, now the actual visit. Point 5. Win the first showing, then the second. We're definitely past just baking cookies, aren't we? The source mentioned people buy on emotion first, then justify with data.
Yeah.
So 2 different strategies for the showings.
Exactly right. That first showing, it is pure emotion. It needs to hit the senses the moment they walk in. Think. Light. Smell, temperature, and a clear, easy path through the home. You need to declutter ruthlessly. Open every single blind and curtain, let the light pour in, set a comfortable temperature. Maybe a very subtle, clean scent, nothing overpowering. Make it effortless for them to move through the space and, crucially, visualize themselves living there. You want that immediate, wow, I could live here feeling.
Okay, they get the I love it feeling on showing, number one. What does the second showing need to do? How do you convert that feeling into an actual offer?
The second showing is all about reducing their perceived risks and giving them the logical justification they need. This is where you provide the data, have readily available copies of recent utility bills, service records for the HVAC or appliances, the property survey if you have it, those insurance notes we talked about, and that clean, proactive seller disclosure. You're basically helping the buyer transition from I love this house to I feel confident and secure making an offer on this house. It's about building certainty.
Which leads us perfectly into the final piece, point 6. Negotiate like a pro. In a high-supply market, the source says negotiation isn't just about haggling over the last dollar. It's more about delivering certainty and speed to the buyer.
That is absolutely the key leverage point when buyers have lots of choices. You often win by being the easiest, most certain path to closing. Start by thoroughly pre-vetting any potential buyers. Confirm their funds or the strength of their pre-approval, obviously. But here's a pro tip. Confirm the lender's track record, especially locally. Is it a reputable local lender known for smooth closings, or some unknown online entity that might cause delays? A strong offer tied to a shaky lender is a huge risk. Sometimes it's worth taking slightly less money for more certainty.
That's a detail many sellers probably overlook. The lender really matters for certainty and hitting that closing date.
It matters hugely. Then you work to tighten up the timelines in the offer. Push for short inspection windows, maybe 5 days instead of 10 or 14. Consider offering predefined repair credit options instead of getting bogged down in back-and-forth negotiations over minor fixes. Use crystal clear language around the appraisal contingency. Set realistic but firm closing dates. Everything you do should signal, this deal is straightforward. This house is the lowest risk, easiest transaction you'll find.
Okay, and what if you're lucky enough to have 2 interested parties? How do you maintain leverage then when the overall market still favors buyers?
You still lean into certainty and clarity. Set a very clear deadline for best and final offers, say 6 hours or end of day, don't let it drag, and then present the terms side by side, maybe not just the price, but contingencies, closing date, lender strength, to clearly demonstrate why one offer might be superior, even if the price is similar or slightly lower. You're negotiating on the total package, speed, certainty, contingencies, not just the absolute highest dollar amount.
Wow. This has been an incredibly practical deep dive. We've covered everything from pricing with precision, managing those metrics like a scientist, engineering the launch, knowing your buyer, and finally negotiating based on certainty. It really drives home that succeeding in this kind of crowded market takes way more than just sticking a sign in the yard. It truly requires this expert playbook executed with, well, fierce discipline.
Absolutely. And if we zoom out for a second, this really raises a crucial question for you, the listener. Even if you're thinking of selling maybe 6 months, maybe even 12 months from now, it is never too early to start planning. If you want to maximize your outcome in a buyer's market, you should be thinking today about mapping out a custom pricing model for your home, getting that pre-market checklist organized, defining who your most likely buyer is, and outlining that multi-channel plan designed just for them. What could you start preparing right now?
Start laying that groundwork today, because waiting until you're ready to list means you've already lost that crucial runway you need for a successful launch. Thank you for joining us for the deep dive. We'll catch you next time.